Well, good morning, and for those of you who were upstairs at breakfast, it was pointed out to me that I just sort of slurped coffee straight through the South Carolina part. So I was born in South Carolina, a little town called Honey Pass, South Carolina. I've been at USM since 1986 as a professor in the chemistry department. I'm a biochemist, and May of last year, I started working with Dennis as Associate Vice President for Research, and am now the Vice Provost for Research. So my purpose and the purpose of my office is to assist you in any way possible as you go about your research and scholarship endeavors. That means anything from recombinantly designing a new antibody for drug delivery all the way to choreography of a new ballet. Everything in between, our office is interested in. Quite often you go to universities our size and they say, all they're interested in is the money. Well, we all recognize the fact that external resources are extremely important, and we do spend a lot of time in my office helping set you up with external resources, but we're all about the scholarship here. We want to see publications, we want to see you going off to meetings and presenting important scholarly activities and saying that you did it at Southern Miss. So here's my contact information. Feel free to call me, get in contact with me by email any way that you can. And as I said, I'm still a chemistry professor, so if you can't catch me here, I'll be over in the lab in the 9th floor of Johnson Science Tower, probably, even though that's turning into more and more a little bit on Saturday morning. That's about all. So I hate people who stick up organizational charts, but I didn't get the 1 minute limit, but I do have a time minute limit. So I just sort of wanted to show you what happens in the Vice Provost for Research office and point out to you blocks that will be important to you. Now, I don't have names associated with these in the slides because there's just so much that you can get in, but I will mention names as I go through it. Some of the people that I was going to call and recognize would have been here and will be here at 10 o'clock from when I was originally scheduled, but that's okay. They'll be at the university fair afterwards anyway. So, start out with the Vice Provost for Research. The Vice Provost for Research in this whole office is advised by the University Research Council, which is an elected group that has representatives from each of the colleges on campus. Everything that we do in terms of policy or whatnot gets vetted through them first and reviewed and approved. There is the executive secretary and a couple of financial assistants that work in my office. Denise Casey would be the person you would run into if you call my office or come in to see me. I'm just going to go from left to right with this block across here. The Assistant Vice Provost for Research Administration runs our Sponsored Programs Administration office. This is a new individual who at USM who joined us last Friday, I think. Her name's Marcia Landon, and Marcia is probably not here yet. She operates our Sponsored Program Administration Office, which has recently been restructured so that we have 3 divisions: proposal development, headed by Michelle Shows, who you'll have a lot of contact with, I'm sure. And then we have Avanel Pugh, who runs the post-award compliance, something that is becoming more and more important, as some of you are aware of. The feds keep changing the compliance rules on us daily, it seems, so we have to use this office quite a bit to stay in compliance. And then finally, we have our contracts and grants accounting people who help us keep up with the money once we do get it. We have an Office of Research Integrity that's run by Sam Bruton. Under him are he advises the Animal Care Committee, the Institutional Research Board, and Sam is the REO, or the head responsible conduct of research officer on campus. He is in charge of doing the training that almost everybody who gets external support has to go through anymore, and he is also the first line of defense, I guess, or the first point of contact is a better way of saying it, when there's been some sort of allegation of inappropriate conduct of research. We have an Office of Research Development that is currently, we're changing how we handle technology development on campus, and we're currently in the process of searching for that position, and we hope to have a director for that office in place in about another month, I would hope. The Research Foundation is sort of lined up with the Office of Research and Development. The Research Foundation is a not-for-profit organization that allows us sometimes to interface with other organizations doing research and facilitates the problems that we sometimes have with state regulations and state laws. For instance, you can't buy anything more than $200,000 without board approval, but like most universities that have, say, for instance, an active marine science group, if you're in Zanzibar and you need to fill up your ship, you can't wait on the board. So we do all of that through the USM Research Foundation. And we also will depend heavily on the Office of Technology Development to handle all of the intellectual property management that the university has. We have quite a number of licenses and patents that we manage, and we're always hoping to develop more of those. Research support. J.T. Johnson is a resident statistician that's always available to help if you need any sort of support in that respect. And our environmental health and safety office is under research support, and that's run by Lynn Landrum. Lynn runs everything from laboratory safety to on-campus environmental issues, and he also does, currently is tasked with being responsible for import-export control. And then also in our office are 4 centers that have sort of, or interdisciplinary centers that have come out of the colleges and formed their own units. And the first one is the Institute of Disability Studies, run by Royal Walker. The Mississippi Network for Cancer Control, which is actually located up in the Delta in Greenwood, is run by Freddie White Johnson. And NCS4 is sort of a new and exciting effort for Southern Miss, in which we sort of lead the United States and probably the world in stadium safety and security. And that's run by Lou Marciani, who today actually is out at Texas A&M conducting a seminar on stadium safety. And then finally, our newest center that has been put into my office is the Center for Logistics and Trade and Transport, run by Tulio Sabaran, and it, as the name implies, is involved with logistics, trade, and transport. Oops. I want to mention a couple of opportunities and new programs within the office, and the first one is not a new one. We started this last year. It's called Principal Investigator 101 is sort of the offhand name for it. It turns out it really is a research luncheon seminar on grants management that we hold twice a year, once in the fall and once in the spring. We do it on Tuesdays and Thursdays over lunch so that everybody who has conflicting class schedules can make it there. And what we do is we talk about the best way to go about going off campus to get support for your research or your scholarship, and then what happens once you're lucky and actually have some success, how to manage the grant and whatnot. I'll actually give an abbreviated portion of that toward the end of this talk if I don't run out of time. This week is this semester is tentatively scheduled for the week of October 8th, and there'll be plenty of emails, and there'll be some information from the SPA, on the SPA newspaper that comes out monthly also about this. I'd also like to mention a very new program that we have out of the office. It's called the New Grant Development Program. These are going to be a set of grants that we will provide out of the Vice Provost's office for $2,000. And what the idea is that we'll give you $2,000 to spend on anything you want to spend on to help you develop a proposal, an external proposal for a grant or opportunity for research off campus. We're, at this point, sort of favoring interdisciplinary projects that would have multi-PIs, particularly if the PIs break across departments and across college lines. The details will be on the web page later this week. feel free to look that over. We are hoping to grant probably 10 proposals in the fall, and the deadline will be November 1st for the fall, and then we'll have another deadline for the spring semester. We also have an active Principal Investigator travel support program, and these are small mini grants to facilitate visits to program officers. It's been our experience that one of the most important factors in being a successfully granted investigator is to go talk to the program manager and get to know the program manager face to face. We've on more than one instance demonstrated to ourselves and to our faculty that quite often you'll hear something sitting in a program manager's office in Washington that you would never hear by email or by telephone conversation. So our office will pay for your travel expenses to visit a program officer at any agency. Most of these are going to be located in D.C. The only thing that we need for you is there's a request form that right now you can get from me by emailing me, but it'll also be on the webpage. We ask that you have a 4-color leave behind, sort of a extended calling card that tells what you do. This always helps the program manager bring you to the forefront of his mind when he's looking through things to fund. And at the same time, if you leave that with us, we're building a database of what people do and what they go to Washington to talk to program managers about, so that when Dennis and I are there, that we can follow behind and sort of reinforce that and show university support. And another thing is we always ask that when you come back, you give us a follow-up report. And what we would really like to do is to get faculty members going up perhaps in small groups, stay in the same hotel, go out and talk to one program manager one day, get back together at night, discuss how it went, switch places and go talk to other program managers later in the day. That hasn't worked out for us yet, but we would like to set up a mini exchange program like that. But as it is right now, if you need to talk to a program manager, send me an email and we certainly can arrange it. While undergraduate research has been a long-standing tradition at Southern Miss and continues to be so, this past year, in fact, April of this year, the Board of Higher Education has granted us permission to establish a university-wide center for undergraduate research. There will be opportunities for funding for small mini-grants and support in the laboratory or other research efforts, research travel perhaps, through this program. It's going to be a formal venue. We'll have a setup for how to go about obtaining these proposals. We're asking that all faculty who are a part of the undergraduate center will have an affiliation, so that we are currently setting up an application form to become an affiliated faculty. And we're very excited about this. As you can see, this is an ad from Point Innovation magazine that we put in. We're very proud of our undergraduate students, and they do quite well, and we really want to encourage their research activities. Okay, for the remaining, as I have it, 7 or so minutes of my time, I want to just sort of go through some of the initial recommendations that we have for going out and getting a grant and perhaps supporting or perhaps managing that grant once you get one. It's not the full PI 101 discussion. There's too much detail, and in fact, we're bringing more detail in it than what we gave last year for the fall presentation this year. This is just a little heads up. I know some of you have already submitted proposals and are probably working on proposals now. My first slide for this discussion is always start early. That seems to be one of the #1 secrets for success, and also to keep yourself from going crazy as you head to those deadlines, because most federal deadlines now are absolutely to the minute. If you're 1 minute, if you're electronically submitting and you're 1 minute late, that's it. You've missed the cycle. And so starting early is a very important part of this process. You want to make sure that you have a request for proposals, what the rules are that your particular agency is going to expect of you as you put together the proposal. And then one of the most important things is to meet with your sponsored program administration administrator, the grants administrator that works with you. Each college has one that's assigned, even though anybody in that office over there can offer you great help. Make sure they have the RFP, explain to them what you want to do, and then give them your best guess for a budget early. Now, you know, we understand that you're going to want to tinker with the narrative part probably right up until 2 minutes before you push the button on submitting the thing, but the budget really needs to be worked out and completed 5 days before the deadline so that the SPY office can get things set up. I suggest that you have at least a rough an idea submitted to them at least a month in advance. Make sure you have a good budget justification. Give this a lot of thought. Remember, when you go after a grant, you're not going just to get a bunch of money. You're trying to accomplish something, and you're trying to convince somebody to give you the money that you need to support that effort that you're putting in your proposal, not the other way around. I mean, as I said before, money's important for getting this work done, but make sure that you know what it is you want to do, look at your budget, and make sure that what you put in your budget is in fact, am I about to get the horn? Make sure that what you put in your budget fits with what you want to accomplish. I'm almost through, actually. Here's the checklist of things. You know, nobody ever wants to be the police and say, get you into trouble if you don't do something, but these are the things that you really have to do because it gets the university into trouble. Human subjects through the Institutional Review Board, animal welfare, biological hazards, radiological hazards, and export control. These are things that have become extremely important that we are completely at the mercy of the federal government, and we just simply have to do. Here are the targets. This is the past 3 years. This is how much research the university has done. Again, it's not all about dollars, but this is what we use to support the scholarship that you propose. And as you can see, even though the federal budget's shrinking somewhat, so far we're holding our own. I'll be surprised if we're able to hold our own through the craziness that's liable to happen in January, budget changes with Congress, but so far we're holding our own. Welcome to Southern Miss. Contact me if you need any sort of help whatsoever with a research issue. Thank you very much.